Welcome to the Rocket Roof Show, where we equip fellow roofers to do more commercial business every first and third Thursday of the month. It's time to launch your business to the next level.
This is Project Command. Stand by at power transfer.
3, 2, 1, blast off!
Hey, welcome back to another show of the Rocket Roof Show with Andy Neer, your host here. And today I have a guest, Paul Reed from Northwest Roofing out of Denver, Colorado. Many of you might have seen Paul on a lot of the Facebook pages, and he's on LinkedIn. And so very successful roofing company out there in Denver, Colorado. Thank you for coming on the show with us today, Paul.
You're welcome, Andy. Thanks for having me. Really looking forward to being on here today, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. I just want to say one thing is I've noticed the last, few months, maybe you've been doing it before, but you and Jonathan Sherwood have really been kind of tag teaming together and putting out some great content. And without even trying, you've really been inspiring and helping other contractors, make that step into commercial roofing. And we were residential contractors for a long time, and was kind of intimidated about getting into the commercial sector. And now that we're doing it, it's really not as scary as I thought it would be. So I'm glad to see you guys like you putting content out to help new guys and young guys coming in.
Yeah, and that was really kind of the idea behind what we're doing. I met Jonathan actually a couple of years ago after a SVG conference. Actually, he was probably the one guy that really listened to Gary Vaynerchuk when Gary V was talking about, putting yourself out there and doing a lot of social media and those things. And I think if you people tried it, Jonathan went all in and decided that's what he's going to do. And he's really built a pretty big platform. But we got to know each other over the last couple of years. And, myself with Northwest Roofing, obviously we started out as a residential roofing contractor here in Denver. And, we used to do a couple, 2,000-3,000 roofs a year on there. And so we were a very successful residential company. And we always, would pick up an odds and end, commercial job here and there, or stumble upon an HOA or a multifamily. And, I would say probably 3 years ago, we decided, we were going to go all in on commercial. So how smart that was, I don't know. I mean, we're running $20-30 million of resi and being successful, but we decided, hey, let's blow that up and let's go into commercial, because the reason I say we blew it up was you either are or you aren't. To me, in a commercial roofing contractor, I don't think you could dabble successfully.
No.
You either are or you aren't. And so that's really kind of the platform that we did. And then where that ties back in with, Jonathan, social media, there really wasn't anybody, putting any type of content out and, what do you do? How do you do it? And so that's kind of one thing that we're doing is putting a lot of information out there going, hey, this is what we're doing. These are the roofs we're looking at. These are the systems we're putting on, and here's how we're doing it. And we're just putting that out there because we really, both of us have a desire to give it back and pass information on. So It's important to us to release that information.
Yep. So I think a lot of guys might be thinking, well, isn't that helping your competition, or doesn't that give your competition an edge? How do you feel about that?
Yeah. You know what? I don't look at it like I have competition on there. And I don't mean that from an egotistical means. I truly believe this. The stronger my competition is, the better it is for me.
Yep.
It's hard whenever you're going out and you're competing on a job and some dirtball rolls in and, really undercuts it, does whatever, doesn't really know what he's doing and kind of undersells you. That's hard. But if I could train guys and they're better and they come out and they're bidding on doing the same job that I'm bidding on and I end up losing the job, I don't really care, because it made me a better company. Made my competition better. Plus, it just kind of give our reputation, as an industry, it kind of builds it up. We don't have a good reputation, so trying to work on that.
And my cousin used to always say, I can't do them all. I can't do all the rest, So,
right.
just give me a little glimpse of where you came from. I know in the pre-interview, I know you shared some of this with me, but share about to me what you were doing before roofing, how you got into roofing, and I think you had a couple different companies before this one you have right now, right?
Yeah. So I grew up in southern Colorado, a little small town, 700 people, called Sanford, Colorado. My family, both sides were, either farmers, ranchers, or truck drivers. And so I think I grew up my whole life kind of, that was probably going to be the route that I was going. My whole family basically still does that. I had a cousin, though, that went out, started a roofing company and was doing a lot of roofs and a few things in southern Colorado, got in trouble with some drugs and ended up getting arrested. And my dad actually sent me out to go help him one day because he didn't have money to, buy any, not buy, but pay for any labor. So my dad sent me, and it kind of got in my blood, and I really enjoyed being on the roof. So just kind of started making the transition, really at that point. Did that for many years in southern Colorado, and kind of ended up getting in a little bit of trouble down there with drugs and alcohol. And so 12 years ago, 13 years this August, I actually went to a drug rehab center here in Denver, Colorado. And that changed my life.
Yeah.
So I never looked back. I never went home, stayed up here, started working for a roofing company up here in Denver, and worked for them for 3 or 4 years. Actually became a partner of that. We were doing about 30 million a year doing that. One day that just kind of dissolved and broke apart, probably because of both of our egos, really, to be real honest with you. That dissolved, and then actually started up. Just thought, well, I'll just go out on my own. I've done it before, whatever. So started what was called Paul Reed Restoration. My wife and I did. So we did that for about 2 months. And in that 2 months, we'd actually sold over $1 million in residential jobs. And Northwest Roofing, the owner of Northwest Roofing, Tom Brown, reached out to me one day, and he was like, man, I don't know why I'm even calling you. And they're doing fine. They were doing, 10-15 million dollars a year. And he's like, I think we need to work together. And so I was like, why in the hell would I go work with another guy? I just went through all that, started my own. We're doing fine. Just sold $1 million, the first 2 months of being in business. Why would I do that again? But there was just something to it, something about it, and not to go down that road, but it was kind of a God thing. And it was like, this is really what you should do. And for many, and so that's what we did. And so for years, it was kind of like, why in the hell did that, where did that come from? What did we do? But we've been able to do a lot of really cool things. And it's allowed me a lot bigger platform, a lot quicker to really get out there into the public and, work with a lot of different guys across the country. So with that being said, I think, that's kind of why it happened. And that's where I'm at Northwest Roofing. And, we're partners, and we have a really good relationship. And, my weak points are his strengths, and, vice versa.
That's what I was going to ask. I was assuming that you had started Northwest, but actually you had partnered up with somebody that was already existing.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's difficult for somebody like me because I've had a few opportunities to partner with somebody, and I never have, because, I'm scared of what decisions are they going to make? What are they going to do? What could happen? And so, but I see a lot of people that do it, and they do it successfully because they have strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah. And I think, you have to go into it, and you have to kind of check your ego at the door, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because, most men, most guys that are in roofing, most successful roofing owners or successful roofing salesmen, kind of type A personality to begin with. And so checking your ego at the door and going, hey, I'm not the be all end all on here. And maybe my idea is not the best idea that we should do. And I know hasn't worked for a lot of people. It's worked for me, because that's what we do, is we check our ego at the door, and we make sure that, whenever he's high and I'm low, he brings me up, and when I'm high and I'm low, I'm bringing him up. So it's kind of an ego thing, and it's, we've done very well with it. We've been successful, and, probably the best decision that I've ever made.
So the main topic we want to talk about today is is health, monitoring your health in the roofing industry. And I know a little bit ago you brought up the drug addiction. So you kind of got two separate stories. You got your recovery from drug addiction, and then last year you did a wellness or a health clinic that you went to.
Yeah.
So can you give me now I don't want to spend too much on the drug part, but was that like, because you always have people that are like, I admitted myself, or my loved ones made me do it. What was the experience for you?
Well, I wasn't intending to go to rehab. I finally reached out for help, and that's where they put me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I went there for that, and luckily it stuck.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of had a spiritual experience there, and
Yep.
really kind of saved me
Yep.
on there. So that's really, you know, my experience with drugs and alcohol. I'm still active in AA and still
Mm-hmm.
sponsor people and still do a lot of stuff with that. You know, we have a Roofers in Recovery Facebook page, and so we do a lot of things with that, and it's exciting and fun.
Cool. So fast forward to last year. Last year, I think it was December
Yeah.
1st, right around this 1st of December. You had put on your page, probably a lot of people that were friends with you didn't even, know that this was an issue, but you're like,
Right.
hey, I'm making a change here.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, you know, obviously since I got sober, you know, there was a lot of life changes on there, and so you start kind of working on yourself, trying to improve, you know, different aspects of your life, you know, business, with, you know, mental, spiritual, all those type of things. And the health aspect of it was always one thing I just kind of kept on the back burner. You know, I like to eat. I don't like to eat. I don't like to work out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always one of those things. Now all of a sudden your weight's kind of creeping up, you know, and you climb a ladder and you can't hardly breathe, and it's, you know, you're tired and all these things, and you know it's important, but it was just one of those things that I just kind of kept on the back burner. And it was always like, you know, at New Year's, like, you know, at New Year's I'll start working out, you know, start a diet and blah blah blah, you know, and I'm drinking, you know, a 6-pack, 12-pack of Mountain Dew, Coke every single day. You
Yep.
know, eating crap, you know, the old roofer lifestyle of stopping at the gas station, you know, to eat, which means a bag of chips and a candy bar and a, you know, big gulp, you know, drink.
Yep.
And so I kept doing that for years, and got up to weighing about 265 pounds, and started to get some health problems with my liver, had some health problems with my kidney. You know, I was looking at all these health issues, and that still really wasn't enough. You know, I just was like, wow, just, you know, I'll do it next week, and it just
Mm-hmm.
never really would stick. Went through a deal. I had a really bad headache one night, got through that type stuff, and never had a migraine before. And I actually ended up going to the emergency room, and they were really busy that night and just kind of sent me on my way anyway. But went back to the doctor about a month later, and they were like, yeah, you'd had a stroke at some point. So
Oh,
at that point, it was, you know, here I am, 45 years old, got 2 grandkids, one on the way, you know, 6 kids, married, you know, successful in business. But that part of my life was like just a wreck.
yeah.
So, you know, it was luckily my wife had actually found a place that I could just go for 30 days, because, you know, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I just didn't have the willpower to quit on my own, you know, basically, of, you know, getting a healthy lifestyle. So that's where I went to this health retreat at the end of November last year, all the way up till Christmas. And, you know, I've lost down near 40 pounds, you know, haven't drank a Coke since. And, you know, it was just a really good refresh, restart.
Yep. Well, I'm going to ask you some details of those few days here, but real quick, I'm going to make a break and give a shout out to our sponsor. The company that sponsors part of this show is Top Roof Marketing Group, and they do a lot of the website and mailing campaigns and SEO and a lot of different graphic design for our company and a lot of companies we work with. And the great thing about Top Roof Marketing is they only deal with commercial roofing. So if that's something that you want to work with a partner that really knows commercial roofing in and out, doesn't just dabble in it, but really knows what they're doing in commercial roofing, check them out at Top Roof Marketing. So yeah, I just wanted to dive into a little bit of what that glimpse is of what a Was it like a water fast, or did you do any kind of cleansing in that? Was it a 2-week
No,
period?
it was, I tell you what, it was a complete, reset. We went to this place in Salt Lake City, Utah, and they've got this place there, and, it's all about health and fitness. So literally, wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and, drink a health shake and go work out for 2 hours, come back, eat breakfast, work out like it was health and workout all day. So they really taught me how to, what type of foods are healthy. It was literally every food that I was eating was not good for me. It was high in sugars, high in fat. I didn't realize, like, hell, every bit of food that I really enjoyed was tons of sugar in it.
Yeah.
So it was, weaning you off of sugar and basically cutting you off of sugar, and just completely resetting your mindset of what you should eat and how that affected, when you eat like crap, like, your mind is not right. And I was like, that's crazy. But man, I tell you what, that was true.
Yeah. So, are you still using some of those practices today?
I do.
Okay.
Absolutely. I do. Absolutely. So,
Did you buy some equipment or anything like that, or anything additional after you got back? I know I got a weight set. I don't hardly ever use it. I bought it with good intentions, and I
yeah, we have a home gym and stuff, which has come in really handy, for right now. So, I try to do at least 30, 45 minutes of cardio a day. I kind of got into yoga there for a little bit on there, and I kind of like the aspect of, the stretching and all that. It's amazing how much that helps you.
Yep.
I kind of got to the point where, I used to actually be the guy on the roof for many years. I was the
Yep.
guy roofing.
Yep.
And so my body got pretty beat up, took a lot of falls and different things like that. And your body gets pretty messed up, and you kind of, just start using it in a different way, even though it's injured in, that area. So you use something else. It's pretty soon your whole body's jacked up. So, here I was, I didn't take care of any of that for many years. And all of a sudden now I'm 45, and hell, I could barely move.
Yep.
I can't even hardly bend over to tie my shoes.
Yep.
So, with yoga and stretching and a few things like that was what I've tried to incorporate. I will admit I have got a little bit away from the yoga. It's a good reminder. Thank you.
Yep.
And I get back on that pretty quick.
Yep. I just never grasped the thing about yoga, because I have a hard time sitting there and doing nothing and concentrating on nothing. My mind just goes crazy.
It is. But once you're able to actually do it, and you're able to get in there and kind of clear your mind and really get into it, it's pretty peaceful and relaxing. Okay. And a great workout.
Yeah. Cool. So let me ask a little bit about the person that says, well, I don't really drink, I don't smoke, I don't chew, I don't do all any of that bad stuff. But if you like you and me, we used to be on the roof. I was on the roof for 15 years, and I think I was in pretty good shape. But then when I got off the roof, I was in the office. I started doing more lunch meetings. And then when I started working with people out of state, we start you're flying and you're meeting with people, you eat out a lot. And it's hard to watch what you eat when you eat out. Of course, you don't want to look funny in front of people ordering something special.
Right.
Talk to me about how because I'm sure you do a lot of business meetings. You do a lot of eating out. How do you
that was the hardest thing for me, because I have a lot of business meetings. I'm flying here, flying there, and you'll get in late at night, and all of a sudden it's 10 o'clock and you haven't ate. So you're good. And that, back, a year ago, didn't matter. You'd stop from the airport, going to the hotel, you'd stop at McDonald's or whatever, 10, 11 o'clock at night. So what I've tried to really do, and especially a lot of business meetings, when you go to like a nice steakhouse or whatever, I just try to really make a couple of healthy choices. One is, I'll order water, number one, because soda was really my biggest thing. So order a water, and then when they bring out the bread, I don't eat the bread. That's my other huge vice on there. So a few simple things like that. And, it just worked on there. So I think part of the deal with this whole thing is a mindset, because if you tell me that I have to be on a diet, I kind of freak out. Like, that really bothers me. If you say, hey, Paul, you need to go on a diet. Like that bugs me. I don't want to be on a diet. Like I can't make my mind work. But what I can do is, luckily I had a dietitian that told me, she's like, listen, like, here's all these foods that you really like, don't eat it today, right? Don't eat it today. So, next week, if you want to eat a scoop of ice cream, eat a scoop of ice cream. If you want to go to Baskin Robbins with your daughter and take her to Baskin Robbins, eat a scoop of ice cream. Don't put it in a sugar cone and don't get 2 scoops. And I could make my mind go around that. I could do that.
Yep.
If I just say today, I'm not worrying about that. I don't think about it for tomorrow. I make it work in my mind. And so that's how I get through all those like business meetings and stuff. Today, I'm only, instead of eating a big fatty steak, maybe I'm going to get a piece of salmon and some, vegetables. Tomorrow, maybe I'll get a fatty steak. And then when tomorrow comes, I kind of redo that.
Yeah. I listen to a guy named David Goggins sometimes. I don't know if you ever heard David Goggins, the Navy SEAL.
Yes.
One thing stuck out to me is he's like, not every single meal has to be super delicious. Like, where did we get in our mind that every meal we eat has to be super delicious?
Right.
Like, sometimes we just have to eat something for sustenance without all the sugar and salts and additives.
Well, and then I've also noticed too, and that's because that's why they had us basically eating 5 times a day too. So when I went to this health retreat, they had us eating 5 times a day, which, first thing in the morning, say we'd drink a protein shake on there. Then we'd have a breakfast, which was usually, some yogurt or, a protein pancake or some eggs, whatever it was, and then at 10 o'clock, we would have a light snack, which was, a handful of grapes and maybe a handful of nuts, then at noon, piece of chicken and a little piece of vegetable. And then, at 3 o'clock again, maybe a protein bar. And then at, 6 o'clock, a light dinner. Doing it that way, because what happens is, as like a roofing contractor, especially, you jump up in the morning, you get ready and you go out the door. And next thing you know, it's like 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon and you haven't ate all day. And so then what do?
Up in there.
Right. You eat all that unhealthy crap stuff that you could buy really quick. And so I know that when my days are a lot better and I feel a lot better if I could eat those 5 meals a day.
Yep.
And you can. Hell, you're sitting in the office, put a little bit of food in the fridge at the office, you'll be fine.
Yep. So next question. Do you do any vitamins, supplements, things that are not necessarily food, but I heard you say protein shake.
Yeah, I got off of the protein shakes. I kind of have a hard time with like texture and drinking stuff. I've really had to try to train myself about eating breakfast. So I went many, many years not eating breakfast. So now all of a sudden, they're telling me breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I've had to kind of train my body to eat breakfast. And so it's been really hard for me to get up in the morning at 6 o'clock and drink a protein shake. The texture and everything just doesn't set really well. So I really don't take any supplements or anything like that. I know I probably should, but I have.
But eating right is the very first important thing. I know some people take supplements thinking they can eat garbage and just take these supplements.
Yeah, eating right is the key, on there. And again, I don't look at it as a death sentence. I don't eat candy bars and ice cream and cookies every day like I used to. Every couple of weeks I may have a little snack, a little treat and eat a cookie, because it just works better for my mind. I don't want it to be a death sentence that, you can never again in your life, eat a cup of ice cream.
Yep.
That's hard.
So how important does your wife play a role in this? Does she get on you? Does she give you a program? Does she give you little reminders?
Well, it's funny. For years she was on me, and it was always, I'll do better next week, or I'll, first of the year, blah, blah, blah. And she's always cooked really healthy. So, anytime we had lunch or dinner, she's always cooked very healthy. But my problem was I would, get into the cupboard and eat cookies and ice cream after she had a good, healthy meal. So it wasn't doing any good.
Yeah.
So now she's been super supportive, and we figured out what type of, healthy food that's good for me. That's not, that's not bad that I could eat, that she could eat, on there. So we've worked together on figuring out the type of stuff that I like.
Yep.
The healthy stuff to satisfy you sometimes. That's hard sometimes.
I've seen some guys go through this where they have a eating diet and they all of a sudden they're making changes, and their spouse is like, well, I'm skinny. I mean, I don't have to eat like that just because you
Right.
do. And so it makes it harder. You definitely have to have a spouse that's on board to say, hey, we're doing this for
Yeah.
both of us. And
Yeah. Well, I was skinny till I was like 42 years old.
yeah,
And then from like 42 to 45, I just, I don't know, hit me.
yep,
Finally caught up to me.
yep, for sure. So I wanted to round out the end of this podcast on the current event, the current situation of the nation. I'm trying to stay off of social media talking about it because it's really hard to know what's true, what's not true. There's so many people throwing conspiracy theories and fake news out there. And but I do want to touch on first of all, what's the state of your state and over there in Colorado? What's kind of the Reader's Digest version of what's going on?
Man, it's pretty tough right now. Colorado has been pretty aggressive as far as, the stay-at-home orders and, businesses closed and shut. So there's a lot of people, without jobs here, just like everywhere else. But I think our governor's been pretty aggressive in getting those orders out. 2 days ago, he came out with the deal that you are required to wear a mask if you go outside on there. So they're doing all those things. It's difficult, right? Like I think most people, especially here in Colorado, there's a pretty big outdoorsy state. A lot of people, enjoy the mountains and the outdoors. And it really feels like just to be real blunt and clear on this, is like half the people here are taking this serious and staying at home and doing the social distancing, and the other half are just out doing whatever the hell they want.
Yep.
So that's what's going on in Colorado. Unfortunately, that's just, I don't know about across the country, but here, go by the park and, half the people are there still hanging out.
Yep. We're in Michigan, so I think we're in the top 3 or top 4 as far as states that are infected. And I'd say 95% of the roofing contractors are shut down. And a lot of them are subs, so they're depending on GCs. And so, if the GC shuts down, they're without work.
We're still going strong, man. Like obviously we don't do any door knocking because, we're not in residential, business to business and multifamily HOA stuff that we do. They seem like about half of those guys are still business as normal. The HOA world, they're still business as normal. The multifamily, with the investors and stuff, they're kind of on hold. They're not really wanting to spend any of that CapEx money right now. I can't blame them. So that's kind of slowed down. But we haven't laid off anybody at the company. I've got over 40 employees, plus subs and 1099 people. But I got over 40 employees, and we haven't laid off anybody. We're still rolling.
Okay, good deal. One thing we noticed in our state is a lot of non-roofing companies are all of a sudden saying, we do roofing repairs, we're essential. And actually, I don't know, landscapers and masoners or other trades that are trying to keep busy,
right? Because
their trade isn't. I
haven't seen that here, but I'm sure they're out there. I think people are pretty scared. They're desperate. It's getting pretty tough.
Yep. So what I wanted to really touch on was, not a lot of states are still business as usual, but there's quite a few people in states in the East that things are tightened up right now. Things are slow, but this is just my personal feeling. What do you think is going to happen May 1st, the first or second week in May? There's going to be a mad dash for going back to work. I've talked to a few people and they say it won't be a problem, and other people say it will be. But do you think there'll be a shortage of suppliers, materials? Everybody wants their subs at their job first, trying to get everything back on track, catching up.
I think there's going to be some of those issues for sure. I look at, some of the simpler things like nails, coil nails come from China.
Yep.
Something like 90% of them come from China. I think we're going to have shortages on stuff like that. It seems like, from my conversations with the manufacturers, they all feel pretty good about most of their stuff. I think they're staging to try to make sure that they're fully stocked and they're ready to go.
Yep.
I don't think it's just going to open up. I think the economic side effects are going to be way bigger than most people do. Not to be real pessimistic on that, but I don't just think because President Trump gets up and says, hey, the company's back open on May 1st, we're business as usual. I think the economic type of stuff is going to really affect us. I don't know how much insurance work you guys do, but deductibles, who the hell is going to pay their deductible right now?
Yeah.
When after a big hailstorm, they have an insurance claim. Are people going to pay their deductibles? I
Right.
think that's going to be the bigger problem than if we could get material or get crews. I think the economic impact will be bigger than, worrying about if, Beacon can get your shingles out today.
We do very little insurance work, but in talking with our distributor the other day, they said manufacturers that they deal with are already staging and can continue to produce and prepare for the.
I also think that the manufacturers, I think they're going to service the people that have been paying them this whole time.
Yep.
I think there's going to be, from my conversations with suppliers, there's a lot of companies that are late on their payments right now.
Yep.
That may or may not be able to pay that. So I think there's going to be a lot of companies that didn't pay their bill that might be trying to get material that, they're not going to be getting material.
Yep.
So I think the people that are paying their bills and being able to keep that cash flow, going and their responsibilities paid,
yep,
they'll be all right. So maybe that's why I'm looking at it like that, is because I know that we're going to be okay and we're going to pay off our suppliers. And so we'll be first in line to get material.
Yep. And to circle back what you said about insurance, people don't have the money to pay their deductible right now. But even on the retail end, like we deal with building owners, commercial building owners that they might have a board, or we have one that's it's a country club, and so they've got to go to their members to say, hey, we're doing this roof, we're going to have an uptick in membership fees. Well, they were supposed to do an assessment on the company, so they can raise it. Well, they can't do it in this period of time because the assessment's going to come back really poor. So They basically told us, we're not going to pull out of the project, keep the deposit, but we're going to have to push this down the road just a few weeks or a month until things are better. So
absolutely, we're seeing that as well. I think most people, they're trying to hold on to their money, and these big investors and business owners and commercial building owners, they're going to be tight on their CapEx spending for a little while.
Yep.
If it's leaking and there's a big problem, whatever, they will do some repairs for a little while.
Yep. Cool. So, well, I think we're coming on the end of the show here. I don't know what we're at. I can't see how many minutes we're on, but do you have anything more to add on the health topic that you were talking about?
You know what? I do. I think it's super important that besides the obvious benefits of being, healthy and, you feel a little bit better. I know when I got back, I've been to that retreat for a month and I started this healthier lifestyle. I know all my guys and people I'd be in, our meetings and doing different things. And my guys were all saying, man, I've never seen you better. I've never seen your mind more clear than you're doing right now. So I think people need to know that. I don't, maybe just me, but I had no idea that, eating healthy and working out and doing all these things actually contributed to the way I thought and how cloudy and unclear I actually was.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was the biggest thing, besides the obvious. Biggest thing for me was just how clear and concise I could actually be whenever I'm being healthier.
Right. Do you mind sharing how many pounds you're down?
So 265 down to 227.
Awesome.
So
congratulations.
37. Yeah.
Probably had to go down, buy some new clothes.
Pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much. I'm having to wear a belt and yeah. Shirts aren't all schmediums anymore.
Awesome. Right. Well, I appreciate you being on the show today. I know you're a really busy guy. You had a call that was before this show, right up to the minute. So I know you're busy. So I appreciate you taking the time to come on here. And I'm really looking forward to some more of your content on social media. I really appreciate your comment about taking it seriously, because we've been doing some social media training with somebody that
Yeah.
helps our team. And he's like, it's not just for play anymore. It's actually for work. And
Right.
we can
It
take
is
it
so true.
seriously. So I know a lot of companies in my area, they have no social media presence at all. So
No, you need to have it. That's
Yep.
where it's going.
Yep.
Especially now, people aren't going to be opening their doors for you.
Right. So thank you for coming on today. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a good week. Stay
All right,
safe
Andy.
there out in Colorado.
Thank you. Appreciate you, man.
Yep.
Take care.
You've been listening to the Rocket Roof Show podcast. Be sure to subscribe through your favorite podcasting platforms such as iTunes or Google Play to get the latest episodes as they are launched. For more, please follow us on social media or visit our website at rocketroofshow.com. We look forward to joining you here again soon at the next launch.